I have been stealing my roommate's socks for the past 3 years and I can't stop. For the past 3 years I, M26, have been continuously stealing my roommate's, M27, socks. For context, me and my roommate have been living together for the past 4 years. He's a really good guy, and has never done anything wrong to make me wanna stop being friends with him. More context, he has a massive sock collection. When I first met him I thought this was funny and kinda weird, but didn't question it because I'm quite odd myself. After maybe 10 months of living together I started to randomly get intrusive thoughts to just take his socks. I honestly don't know why, this has literally never happened to me. I'm not the type of person to just randomly want to steal things either. I decided to ignore these thoughts for maybe a month or 2, but then it just got worse. I would go to bed and a voice in my head would just be telling me, steal his socks. It started to become unbearable. I wouldn't be able to go a day without thinking about taking his socks. It was even worse when I would be hanging out with him after work. I would look at him and all I could think about was his damn socks and how I wanted to take them. At this point it was too much to bear, so I just caved in one night while he was staying late at work and decided to go into his room and just steal one singular sock. I put the sock in my drawers so then it would seem as if our clothes had just been misplaced. That night I went to sleep and felt so much better. It was a massive sense of relief and satisfaction. I thought that would be the end of it, but no. A few weeks later I felt that same agonizing feeling to take his socks again. I didn't want to do it, but after enduring a week of these constant thoughts I once again, while he was working late, decided to go into his room and take another single sock and then put it in my drawers again. At first I would maybe steal 1 or 2 socks per month, and more recently, past 7 months, I've been stealing 1 to 3 socks per week. At first he just thought our laundry was getting mixed up, but then he started to get very confused as to why his socks were just fully disappearing. More context. After maybe 7 months of stealing his socks I started to put them in my car instead of my drawers because I was afraid he was getting suspicious. So instead of him finding his random socks around the house or in my room they would just fully disappear, since he would never go into my car, and even if he did he wouldn't be able to find them. He's also gotten quite protective over his sock collection. He even has spoken to me about the fact his socks are just disappearing, and when this happened I decided to tell him we could look through my dresser to see if some of them got mixed up in my clothes. He agreed, and I told him we could do that this weekend since I was quite busy finishing off some of my work. Before that weekend I decided to go into my car and grab some socks, and then I stuffed them into my drawers so it would seem as if things were accidentally getting mixed up. He believed this and then seemed to stop questioning his socks disappearing and just went back to the assumption that they were just getting mixed up with my clothes and around the house. I've been considering confessing to him, but every time he brings home a new pair of socks for his collection I feel unbelievably excited. Before anyone says this, no, I do not have a foot fetish, and ironically, I actually hate feet. I also don't believe that this is some sort of kink because I don't get any sexual pleasure from doing this, nor have I ever masturbated to any of this. Another thing I think is worth mentioning is that I've never felt the need to steal anything before. I could go into a clothes store and see a bunch of socks and not even bat an eye. I just like stealing his socks. I'm also not obsessed with him. Me and him could go ages without speaking and I wouldn't have a single problem. He's a really good friend and super kind, and we have gotten very close over the past few years. I feel extremely guilty about doing all of this. He hasn't been very upset about his socks going missing or anything, but I just feel like such an asshole for taking his socks for literally no reason whatsoever.
Ever think about talking to a professional about this? If everything is pretty sane in your life, then maybe it's triggering something you just can't figure out, and a therapist may be able to help you navigate. Nothing to be ashamed of. Many blessings.
Maybe you could just return all those socks back regularly, maybe twice a week per 1-2 socks. I don't know if it's okay, but it seems to be the best way for you if you don't want to tell him the truth.
Yeah, shit's beyond weird, brah, but yeah, post a video of you confessing to him. It would probably be the best thing ever to hit the internet if any of this is true.
If I do confess to him I'll record it. I just don't know if I'll be able to get the guts to confess, since what I've been doing is extremely messed up.
I'd say never tell him. I'm a chill guy, but if I learned someone was doing this, I'd create space.
IDK why this could have started, but I'm guessing at this point you're just low-key addicted to the dopamine release you're getting from doing it. You've like unintentionally conditioned yourself into associating stealing his socks with that sense of satisfaction and achievement. LOL. The human brain is a wild place. I hope you can figure this out somehow.
Start buying him socks as gifts.
If you want a good reason to stop, just think about how many times he jerked in the socks that you now put on your feet.
I don't think he wears the stolen socks, I think he just likes taking them.
This is all marriage/long-term relationships are bad. Maybe your roommate is the one. I used to do this, but with his weed.
Just show him this post, man, and return the socks. Maybe even buy him a nice pair or two when you do it. It's not like a horrendous crime. It's minor and a bit silly actually. He might laugh, be a little concerned. He's not going to hate you for it, especially if it's a compulsive behavior. I'm sure in a couple years it'll be a funny story for both of you. Have you considered what may have triggered the compulsion? Were you low on socks and got a huge rush? Do you feel he doesn't need that many socks/deserve them?
While it's not a terrible crime, if my roommate tells me they have been doing this, I'd be so weirded out. It's so creepy. If you tell him OP, he's gonna move out. You have a voice in your head that's telling you to do things and you can't resist. You should see a mental health professional. This could be a start of a mental illness.
My guess is that you might have klepto tendencies and have gotten into this habit because it's pretty low risk. It's less desirable to shoplift when you know you could get arrested or caught, but it's easy to take socks from your roommate when you probably won't get in that much trouble. If you want to apologize, you can, or you could just slowly introduce the socks back into their natural habitat by throwing a few here and there in the wash. It's honestly not that big of a deal, lol. If I was him, I'd find it funny.
Yeah, I think because you're friends the situation is better. If a person I didn't know was stealing my socks, I'd be weirded out, but if it were my close friend of many years, I'd just think it was funny. Maybe I've been too brainwashed by New Girl and their fucking bizarre roommate quirks, but truly I'd be like, alright man. However, I have mad anxiety, and although I don't think it's as fucked up as people are saying, it is definitely strange, so probably would not confess, or at least not for several years. Maybe after you'll move out, LMAO. Wait for it to become just a funny story. This kinda sounds like a compulsion of some kind, so perhaps think about why you might be feeling these urges and try to address it. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah, what you're doing is bitch made, no doubt, but it's also hilarious though. You ever had brothers growing up? You probably want to be a little brother subconsciously.
I think this might be because in the past you've always had a hard time finding socks. So you feel satisfied when you see or have clean new pair of socks. This is just my theory. That night I went to sleep and felt so much better. It was a massive sense of relief and satisfaction.
I cried laughing all the way through this. Perhaps you are Mr. Glass to his Unbreakable? You take his socks, he gets to buy more. And you definitely don't wank on them. Everyone is happy. LOL.
You need to talk to a therapist. Something is going on and it should be addressed.
Fucking the Sock Goblin.